Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Please post my story as anonymous. I have my confession that I wish to share with you, and my confession, it goes on like this. I am a woman and I am aged 41 years old. I am a Xhosa speaking woman from the Eastern Cape. I used to work at this other high-end stripper club, which was based in Senton. It was way back in 2012. So this is how I ended up working in a strip club. From a very young age, I was introduced to shebeens by my own mother. My mother, she was married to another man who was my stepdad. So this man, he was working in the army. He would come here and there, but most of the times it was just me and mom at home. So my mom, she knew that I loved my stepdad quite a lot, and she would take me wherever she would have gone to. She would take me, give me presents, because she was afraid that if she would leave me, I would end up telling my stepdad that she would have gone out drinking beer with other men. So what my mom did not realize at that time was that she was already training me to be around men at all the times, to feel comfortable, to be around men that would be giving me money. So I would go with my mom to the shebeen. She would buy me snacks, she would buy me nice stuff. So I would be sleeping in one of the rooms that belonged to the old lady who was the owner of that shebeen. But it was very noisy, loud music being played everywhere. Men that would come sometimes touch me and give me money, and they'll be like, don't tell your mom that you have made me to touch your breast. I'm going to give you this money. So I knew that in order for a woman to get money, she has to do sexual favors for a man. This I knew from a very young age. My mom, she found out about this one day. But when your mother is addicted to alcohol, she really does not care. That man then bought some beer for my mom, and she ended up forgiving the guy. Yet she knew that this man had been touching her underage daughter. Instead of getting that man arrested, what did she do? She did nothing. She did not even do anything. So that man had came to me and told me that he wanted to touch me everywhere for a price. So as he was touching me, we started to fight because he wanted to sleep with me. So I was not all about sleeping with any man. I was too young. I just wanted money from him. So this man, when he was forcing me to sleep with him, I screamed. My mom then heard me. She came rushing to where I was, and then she found that guy was on top of me, fighting with me. So my mom was then given some money by that guy, and they sorted the issue in between them. And it was very painful to witness your own mother doing something like that, having this man paying her all of that money. And when I told my mom that I also wanted some money, just like the way that she had been given money by that man, and it also belonged to me, she refused to give me that money. So I was very rebellious towards my mother. I stopped going with him, and I started sleeping with other men that were way older than I was whenever she was not around. Unfortunately, Brother Nashi, because of the way that I was, when my stepdad would hurt, I would sleep with him. It is something that is very bad that I was doing, but I was introduced to this kind of a lifestyle by my own mother. I got my first tattoo on my bum when I was only 14 years. I went to this other guy who was doing tattoos. When I went to him, he then said that he could do a tattoo on me, but he wanted some money, but I did not have enough money. So he asked me where I wanted this tattoo to be placed on, and I told him that I wanted the tattoo to be placed on my bum. He ended up sleeping with me. He was a colored guy who then told me that he had this other brother of his who was helping other women that wanted to have a lot of money in Joburg. And I asked him How was I going to get to Joburg? He said, if you sleep with me, I would organize transport for you so that you can go to Joburg. That is how I ended up being in Joburg. So I was selling my body. This I did not know when I left the Eastern Cape coming to Joburg, that I was going to be selling my body. I just thought that maybe I was going to become someone's girlfriend, only one guy whom I would sleep with here and there, and he would be giving me a lot of money. When I came, I was staying at a hostel and I was regularly selling off my body to other guys that were staying in that same hostel. So these guys, they were working in the mines, so it was easy. We knew that we had a nice client base. We always had guys that wanted to sleep with us. Since I was still very young, I was getting paid a lot of money. I did not agree with what that colored guy would be doing. He would take a lot of that money that you would have worked for, and he would refuse to give you money sometimes. So I said, let me do my own stuff on my own. So I moved out of the hostel, and then I started to work on my own, and I ended up being a dancer, a stripper at a certain club. It was a VIP club. Then I met a Zimbabwean guy. When I met this Zimbabwean guy, he was someone that just looked normal, but he had weird sexual fantasies. He wanted me to dress up as a cow, like to dress up like a cow. That is what he told me, because he would come to the club where I was working. He would give me money. Back in those days, like someone giving you 800 rand tip, it was a lot. Like now, it's like when someone gives you about 8,000, 9,000 just for stripping for that person, no other sexual favors. So I knew that I had this Zim client of mine. He was not staying permanently in South Africa. He would just come to South Africa to manage their businesses, but he had this addiction to see strippers. So this he was doing in secret without his wife even knowing that this was what he was all about. So he knew me and I knew him very well, and we had this relationship sort of like at that club. We were not allowed to date those guys because this club, it belonged to rich, powerful white people, so they would track you, and they did not want you to date their clients because they were afraid that if you date a client, then that client will stop coming to the place. So we were strictly forbidden. But me and this guy, we found a way to always speak with each other when we were not in the club. So the guy then started to come to my apartment where I was staying, and he would sleep with me. He would then give me some money, which was so nice. So I started to learn a lot about this new boyfriend of mine, even though I had many boyfriends. He then told me that he had this sexual fantasy. He wanted to sleep with a cow, but he could not bring himself to sleep with a real cow. So he said that he was going to order a costume. He ordered this costume, I think from France, because when it was delivered to my apartment, this was way before your Shane and stuff. So it was something that was amazing when I knew that there was a costume that my guy had ordered from me from France, but I did not know what it looked like. When it came, it made me to look like a real cow, even with the leather and stuff. It was made out of real cow skin, even with the tail. So when my Zim blesser came to my apartment on that night, I knew that I was supposed to perform and to act as if I was a cow, which I was okay with because he had promised to buy for me a car. We slept together whilst I was on all fours pretending as if I was a real cow, and he said that this was the most greatest sex that he had ever had in his entire life. This guy, I liked him. He was a quiet businessman, and he was now like my blesser. He started to ask for other weird sexual favors. So the door had opened up, since I had already agreed to do some nasty stuff for him, and now he was much more comfortable in asking me to do other stuff. So when he came around, he was complaining. I was even worried that my blesser is not making a lot of money. What is going to happen to me if my blesser is going to go broke? Because he was not stingy. I was dating many blessers. Of all the daters, of all the blessers that I was dating, this guy was the one that was not stingy. If I would ask for money, he would give the money to me without even asking me what the money was for anyway. So I was even praying in my heart. I was like, God, I do not want my blesser to go broke. When he came back to South Africa, he told me that he had been trying to sort out his own business in his country, but things were a little bit hard and he was complaining a lot. I said, so what is going to happen? He said that if I could assist him, his business was going to return back to normal. I said, anything for you, babe. What is it that you want me to do for you? He then told me that he was going to offer me a massive, huge amount of cash in exchange for my used sanitary cotton pads during my monthly cycle. So I was using, back in those days, I used to have rash whenever I would use your normal sanitary pads. So I would buy these other ones, like they were real cotton pads. So those were the ones that I used to buy. So when he told me that he wanted my used sanitary cotton pads when I was on my monthly cycle, I was desperate for money. The guy had already told me that even his business in South Africa, it was about to be liquidated, and once your blesser is broke, he is of no use to you. Does not matter how much he has a good heart and how much he has given to you. So I wanted to get as much money as I could out of him as quickly as possible. And please listen, I was someone that never believed that there is someone that can use you for money rituals and stuff. It was something, to me, according to me, that only happened in Nigerian movies. So I wanted to get a lot of money from him to move on with my life and to forget about him. So I agreed that each and every month I was supposed to give him the used sanitary pads that were still fresh with the blood that would have came out of me. I agreed. This arrangement, it was in place for 2 solid years. This money, it was coming to me, and I would give him my blood. Sometimes he would lick my private parts when I was bleeding. I would have to wake him up at night. You know, when you are on your periods, maybe at night there is a lot of overflow that is coming out of your private part. That is when I would have to wake him up. Then he would get busy in between my legs. It used to be so nasty for me. There was one time that I vomited when he was doing that, and the smell, you know, it was just too much. But this money that I was getting from this man, it became my seed money for my business. I did not have any capital before this guy had came into my life. There was no way that I could have raised a lot of money like the way that I raised this money. So I took that money, I did not spend it, I did not blow it on unnecessary stuff, and then I had my first events management company in Joburg. I started to host events, especially my other blessers that were Nigerians, those ones that loved to party almost each and every Friday. So they would call me for their call to organize women, beautiful women that would come to their parties. That is how I started to make like a real good cash. Until this day, I'm still running that business, and I was boosted by my blessings. So all that I want to tell other people out there, it's not like each and every person that you see that is filthy rich has become rich because of their hard work. By 2016, 2017, I was fully out of the adult entertainment industry. My events company was already booming, and then my Zimbabwean, me and my Zimbabwean, we finally cut ties, and then my business was working so nice. To this day, I do not have any problem at all. I have never been to a sangoma. My business is running okay. I do have a lot of workers. I have hosted big parties, some of them that I can't mention by name. But the only thing that bothers me is that in the village from where I come from, there are a lot of young kids that look up to me, that think that by leaving the village and coming to Joburg, that enough, it can help you in your life, but they do not know the things that I had to do in order to be where I am right now, the different type of men that I had to sleep with, some of them that had weird sexual fantasies, men that could have killed me, some of them that were violent when I was involved in prostitution. So if you are still a young woman that is still growing up, I plead with you, please make sure that in whatever that you do not end up being a prostitute. When we talk about money, it is a good thing. When you have money, you can do whatever that you want to. There was this other time when I went to India after I had an illness, so I had to be rushed to India. That was when I saw that money is good, because maybe by now I could have died if I did not have money. Who was going to take me to India? So money, it is good, but it is not each and every person that is out there that has clean money. Some of them, we have skeletons, like real skeletons that are locked up in our closets. So when you pray to God, make sure that you pray to God not because you lust after what other people have, because some, they are ritualists that I saw with my own eyes. The Zimbabwean guy, the things that he would do when I was on my period, no normal human being who is not a Satanist will ever do such a thing, because even on my own, I would vomit because of the blood that would be on his lips after we would have finished like the oral sex. So that on its own, I know that it is nowhere near normal. So you might be praying to God and then you think that God is not responding to you, and you ask yourself, why is it that God is not responding to you? It is because you are praying to God in a way that is not even normal. God cannot bless you in that kind of a way by bringing to you blessings that are going to beg for your period blood. This is my confession that has brought me to your channel. It's not like I am suffering. It's not like I want any prophet to assist me. I just want other people to know that there are those that are suffering in life because of the things that they did. Like in my own case, I do have a lot of sleepless nights when I think of my own blood that I donated to this same guy. I don't know where he went with my blood, but all that I know was that my period blood was the one that made him to stay afloat. If it was not for my period blood, maybe he could have gone broke a very long time ago. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our DM sister. Let us try to speak with our dear sister in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. Name